Now, I would like to invite Mr. Sai to share with us his thoughts.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really humbled by the greatness of the Mydin group. Actually, our dating, I don't know if Dato' Amir remembers, started about 15 years ago when I was in the insurance industry. I was knocking on doors in Masjid, India, and that's when I met Dato' Amir. Anyway, the partnership with Magiqads and Mydin started in 2011. I'm hoping to share with you some of the media opportunities that we have with Mydin, so that you can make some interesting and intelligent decisions about media. So we started in 2011. We started with just 3 media categories. The new Mydin stores, unknown to some media agencies and media marketeers, it's some of the largest outlets in the country are from Mydin. And when I show these pictures to some of the agency and planners and marketeers, they are really surprised at how far Mydin has grown over the years. This is actually one of the best hypermarket outlets I've seen in the country, to be honest. So Mydin has over 7 malls, 14 hypermarkets, which I'm told by the end of this year will grow to 20. We've got 8 MyMarts, 49 Mydins. Sam Groceria is an absolutely awesome outlet. Just sharing my thoughts with Dato' Amir this morning. It's world class. And we have the deli beside every groceria. And there are 132 One Malaysia outlets that are also supported by Mydin. Now, a little bit of sprinkling of the numbers. I won't go into details, but Mydin has approximately 1.1 million unique, unduplicated shoppers every 4 weeks. And when you start connecting the dots of all the stores and all the traffic that goes into all the outlets, it's as strong as a powerful radio station, even more powerful than a newspaper sometimes, or some of the television channels. So we have information through Nielsen and through other sources that will share with us that we have the vertical numbers or the distribution of the shoppers and the demographics. So that's all actually in the booklet that we have passed you. Some smart facts about Mydin. It's the first fully owned Malaysian hypermarket that reaches 1.13 million shoppers. I'm made to understand they're about to plan their listing. And they've opened their premium stores. Now we have media opportunities in 4 different areas, 4 different zones. It starts from the car park to the mall to in-store. You see, because advertising in a supermarket or retail environment is about a multi-touch point opportunity, and it's about a consumer journey. So from a brand perspective, from a media perspective, as Alex would share, that touch points at different parts of the store, they might be related to different categories. Sometimes FMCGs, sometimes non-FMCGs. So just to run through some of the opportunities, we have stuff in the car park, you have board runners, and you have car park zoning. This is a new thing that we have just come up with. Large wall wraps beside the escalators, very high impact. We've got board walkers, which we used at Sam Groceria. You liked it? Thank you, Dato'. And you also have your standees. We are introducing digital animated standees, as you can see on the side. They are electronic engagement panels that we'll have for Mydin shoppers to use. Advertisers can use to promote their brands, and instead of a single layer of advertising, you can go into multiple layers. Of course, we have the shelf banners, which are very, very effective at the storefront. I'm not sure how many of you noticed, but we have an animated floor stopper. This animated floor stopper was actually invented in-house. We've got patents in China, in Singapore, in Australia, and in UK. We have the trolley advertising, and something new. At the entrance, there's an opportunity for the standee again. Now, for brands like the Millennium who want high impact, you could actually dominate the cashier payment area to have high impact as you're going out. And you will, if you do all the stores, you'll actually have a high impact on all 1.1 million shoppers. Now, I believe the team has put together something very, very interesting for a limited time. You get a 33% off for the non-digital media. We've got the numbers. Suppliers, you guys are all here. You can look through, our salespeople are here with their numbers. Feel free to talk to them, and we'll be happy to assist you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sai. I would now like to invite Mr. Alex Gore, Managing Director of Coastal Scope, who will give us an insight on retail media with a talk titled The Real Battleground.
Morning, everyone. Morning, Dato. Friends in the industry, some godfathers of the industry as well were here. I had the pleasure to have breakfast with him, Peter, this morning. This is very interesting. Sai wrote to me a couple of weeks ago. He said, can you do a segment or a talk on in-store? I immediately said, yes, why not? But then when I look at the itinerary, I said, shit, 15 minutes. He said, okay. I'll just try to compress things in 15 minutes. So when I was doing my deck, the presentation slides that I have, probably about 15 slides now. So the first thing I did was, I asked my wife. I said, hey, so how do we shop these days? So she says, well, we are quite an avid grocery shopper. We shop almost every weekend. We go places, everywhere we go to shop. There are certain criteria that when she shops, she will look at certain things. Some of the things that have also changed her minds in the past, not once, not twice, but a lot of times, is basically when we are at the in-store environment. So then she asked me, instead of me asking her to get more details that can help me to do my deck, she asked me, actually, how much is, or what's the size of the advertising industry in Malaysia? So what I did was I went back, I got my media team to run these numbers. And what you see on the left-hand side here, in blue, are basically ADEX numbers based on breakdown of the Malaysian advertising market without internet. Okay? But if you look at the charts, which is our typically grey area here, which includes internet, cable satellite, and so on and so forth, I told my wife, I said, the size of the advertising market in Malaysia is almost about 14 billion. And that's a huge amount of money being spent in our ADEX. So then she asked me, so how much do FMCG clients spend in advertising in Malaysia? This is a very good point. So I went back to my team, I said, can you run me some numbers and at least tell me how much of money FMCG clients are actually putting behind advertising? And sorry, just before that, 2013, the amount of billions that's being spent in the total index, and this is the pie of it. Just to come to my question, how many percent of spend is being placed in the FMCG market? It's almost about 40%. And that's a whooping big number. And when I look at 40% of money being spent entirely, you can look at the pie, pay TV, FTA, press, radio, outdoor, cinema, and only almost about 120 over million is spent in store. And all the things that everyone does in the FMCG environment, the transaction ultimately do not happen while you're driving or while you're reading a newspaper. The transaction really happens when you are actually on the selling floor. So when again I asked my wife, I say, hey, can you more or less gauge what is the average amount of time people spend shopping? And when we did more numbers based on this tool that we have here as an outdoor specialist, what we call the Outdoor Consumer Survey, we found out that on average, Malaysian shops actually about 2 to 3 times a month. That's an average figure. The non-average figure like me, like my family, like my household, we do it almost every weekend. Or worse still, if it's close to festive seasons, which is your Ramadan, soon, Hari Raya and things like that, the frequency of our shopping trips is a lot more. So then, this morning when I was driving to Mydin, I tried to count while I tried to multitask on emails, looking at traffic light, looking at my ways to get the best way to get to Mydin here today. I counted more or less the amount of interactions that I had with advertising, the amount of things or touch points that I actually went through was anything close to about 200 odd. Alright, this includes billboards that I saw, radio ads that I heard, the Malay mail that I saw just now, and other things when I came here just now. So there's a lot of fragmentation and clutter there, and to marketers here today, which we work very closely with, there's always a question about how to stand out from this entire challenge. When I did a bit of research, Mr. J. Walker Smith says that in the 1970s, we are possibly hit by almost 500 over ads those days. And it's by no surprise, we are being hit by 5,000 over ads these days. Just look at the amount of ads that you see on your mobile phone. The SMS that you get sometimes, you get very irritated by it. And while you're on your journey here, just look around how many ads that you have. But what really cuts through? Why not at the real battleground? So everybody is trying to scream the same message to me when I'm standing in front of the 3-feet shelf. But something needs to jump out, stand out, and actually flag me and help me to make decisions. So in certain categories where I go, particularly like the detergent categories and things like that, they'll give me information that help me and my wife sometimes argue and debate. You see, husband and wife actually do argue in front of the 3-feet shelf to decide what sort of brand do you actually want to buy, based on what you know, based on what you see, based on what you hear. So, in the spirit of the football season, and I know some of you are real football fans here, when I tried to do the following slides on what we always do and what we always think when we plan for our clients, especially on consumer marketing and especially on in-store, we came up with a 4-3-4 strategy. Okay, I put my hands up first. In football, there's no such thing as a 4-3-4 strategy. There's a 4-3-3 strategy. Okay, but we came up with a 4-3-4 thing. What does 4-3-4 means? Basically, how to win the in-store battle. And how to do this is basically to create a relationship, as Dr. was saying just now, to own it and actually to dominate it. And these are the 4 things that's always on our mind as well. You see, the battle in the in-store environment is just not within the 3-feet shelf. If those days, maybe 10 years ago, the battle is within the 3-feet shelf because that's the last mile for you to make a purchase. Today, at this moment right now, the battle is actually beyond the 3-feet shelf. So you take a look at Mydin, you look at the environments and the touch points and the journey that we go through from the parking lot that we park our cars until the point that you walk the mall until you get to the selling floor. These are the opportunities that you can actually touch home when they are doing the journey. Okay? The best thing about in-store advertising to me, because I had the privilege to work with some of my colleagues here, to plan more than 500 to about 800 campaigns in a year. That was where we started basically. So in the in-store environment, it's the most perfect environment for you to don't only just do a printed poster and tell your clients that you're cheaper, you're better, you're faster, and things like that. Please arouse them with the most sensitive parts of the human being, which is your human 5 senses. The sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, and so on and so forth. What I mean by this, back then I remember I was doing this campaign for one of our clients. The client told me that, hey, I've got this fantastic product, it smells really, really good and things like that. And when the client came up with the production of the visual of the shelf banner, it's just only a standard poster. Well, I said, why not infuse that poster with some level of scent? Why don't you get consumers to engage with it, press a button, let them smell the different variants of your product, let them decide there and then. You may not win them then for the first time, but shoppers don't only shop once a month, like I say, they shop 2 to 3 times a month. So you use the human 5 senses to do that. Technology, massive. I was just having this quick chat with Malik just now about iBeacons and things like that. Technology is here. A lot of it needs to be embraced. This is one of those Google images. Actually, it's a video, but I didn't put the video here. This is one of those shelf talkers that I saw overseas, where it's actually an animated shelf talker. So it doesn't have audio, but it sells a lot of emotional elements of a particular product. And what it basically does is it stops you in your tracks when you're walking the whole entire aisle to stop and pay a bit more of attention to it. And how some of these technological innovations can change is basically it provides you with a lot of information. So I was talking to Malik about iBeacons. I'm not sure anyone has heard about iBeacons. So iBeacons basically is something that when you walk into a certain environment, you're being geo-fenced within a certain perimeter, and messages will be pushed to your mobile phone. So if you're walking down a diaper aisle, for instance, if let's say there are any cross-marketing strategies being deployed, you will get this message on your phone to say that maybe there is a very affordable or new flavor of a milk powder that's available in the next aisle, and you will get it for 10% off and so on and so forth. So this is how far technology has changed the whole shopper marketing, the whole in-store environment and so forth. Last but not least is communication should always be active. Alright, as I was debating with my team and some clients, I said, well, with the amount of budget, you can't take that particular TV channel for the whole year. But what you need to understand, which we told the client, is shoppers do shop the whole entire year, and they shop a lot more during festive seasons and so on and so forth. So we should always be on the 3-feet shelf or before the 3-feet shelf to make sure that we are constantly there talking to the consumers. What is the 3? This is typically for brands. Number 1 is basically to integrate the shopper and marketing consumer. It's basically to understand the audience journey, the role of communications, and what media influences them. So what we basically do for our clients when we plan our in-store is basically to look at their whole entire journey. What touch points works for them? What sort of affinity that actually attracts them? What do they see? What do they recall? What do they want to see? What sort of elements of creative do they actually want to see? So we look into all this consumer behavior and psychographics just to make sure that whatever we're planning for our clients does come true. To develop the role of emotion for shopper strategies, again, is typically to start to put triggers to ensure that consumers do actually look out for your ads and connect with them. This is basically a trigger chart that is part of our tool to see what is basically going to be attracting the consumers, whether they are easily distracted by certain things, whether they're highly focused on certain touch points and so on and so forth. So we look into all these details to make sure that we actually give them the capture solution. And last but not least, we are more or less the millennial shoppers. A lot of us are basically. And we need to ensure that we live up to the experiences of consumers, whether it's by communications, whether it's by an experience, whether it's your packaging, and the whole works of it. So that's the 3. What's the 4? And this is the ugly truth. It's always very hard to actually accept the truth. I said this just now. You may not win them the first time. Honestly, the way I've seen some of my friends, some of our colleagues, my wife particularly, how she changes brands and things like that, it's just not a one-time solution. It's always repeatedly, after many, many times, she gets convinced to change or to try. Be it whether it's any elements of promotions, a baker's dozen, or anything else. So you will never win them the first time. But here's the thing, we have to do things consistently, and you have to make sure it's relevant to your consumers. I like this. You got to remind me, you got to teach me, and you got to help me make decisions. If your products kills 99.9% bacteria, and if you state it there, can the client take one step further to do it? Can you infuse it with some digital electroluminescent technology on that particular poster to tell me a little bit more about it, so you help me to remind me? Because I've probably seen that ad on TV before. I've probably seen it in the newspaper before. I've probably heard about it from some friends before through word of mouth. I've probably seen it in the airports before, for instance, if you advertise there. But all these things will actually help me to make decisions. But last but not least is, it's not about the destination, because the destination is still the same. You probably have seen about it, heard about it, talked about it, but at the end of the day, the real transaction typically happens within the selling floor and within the 3-feet shelf. And technologies are available. I like this by Google, the 0 moment of truth. They mentioned it straight to the point. I put this picture of a mobile phone because that's the first screen that we always reach out for. If you're unsure whether the product does this, does that, I've seen someone actually take out the phone, immediately do a YouTube to look at some ads, to even search about it if you didn't know about certain jargons that the advertising used. Google Glasses, I guess it's a matter of time it will come. So you no longer have to reach out to your phone, you can actually even sort of talk to your glasses. That looks weird actually. And this was what I was talking about, the eye beacon technology. At Postal, which is part of the Dentsu group, we have also invested in one technology called gimbal. This technology is now being explored and being tested to be brought into Malaysia for some of our clients. And what basically happens, as I've just mentioned just now, wherever you are, we do a geofencing around it to make sure that we push messages to your phone. You may accept, you may not accept that. We don't get into trouble with BDBA anyway. Okay, so I'm almost to my last 2 slides. One last slide and one video. I was asked to talk a bit about a typical case study. I couldn't. I really couldn't. Because there's so many case studies out there that I could have picked. But what I've done is I've picked Manila Code. Why Manila Code? When I was doing a lot of the in-store planning for some of my clients, a client did once share with me this before. This, I believe, was in Thailand. When they launched Manila Code, they did everything possible that any forms of advertiser would do. They buy TV, they buy print, they buy radio. Back then, not so much digital, not so much mobile, and everything else. And Vanilla Coke, to me, per se, or to anybody else, is still a carbonated drink. It's still a Coke. But how do you tell a consumer about Vanilla Coke in the in-store environment? Somebody say, do sampling lah. Just do sampling like people taste, you know. But how many days and how many times can you do sampling throughout the year from whatever time the store opens until the store closes? So what the marketeers and also the agency did was, they came up with this brilliant idea. They infused the scent of vanilla onto the shelf banner. And every time there's a sensor there, every time a consumer walks past the shelf, it will infuse the smell of vanilla. So typically, and again, our nose, our mouth are all very pretty much interconnected. When you smell, you more or less can get the taste of it. So when consumers started to walk the aisle, they began to realize this vanilla smell. And right then there's this huge banners there that talks about the new variant, the vanilla Coke, you must try, etc., 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 things like that. I don't have the real hard facts and figures, but I do understand at that point in time, at that new product launch period of maybe about 4 weeks or so, the sales were incredible, right? So that was, to me, one of the best case studies that I've ever heard and ever seen. The next one is basically a video, and I thought a video is the best way to amplify what I've been trying to talk about in the last 15 minutes. And this is about a 1 minute odd video. It's basically a particular brand that some of us may not have heard of. And as you go through that video, you will see the key elements of the 4 Ps, basically the product. Not so much of a price, not so much of promotion, but more of the locations of where you are supposed to advertise. You will see some very interesting shelf banners on the shelf there. So I won't talk anymore. I'll just...
Something that we have worked, I think we started it last year. Something about coming in before the gondola, right, the 3 feet. And this was done because the idea of one of my bosses, Mr. Salim. He said that we need a way to find our neighbor when they were opening up, right? And it was something that I said only for members, specials. So today, any of our members who have a Magiqads, they can go to our store and they approach one of these devices, we call it price checkers or the Magiqads coupon, and they scan it and they get specialized coupons for them. Now this is a great way to get sales out. And personally, I will ask my bosses that it has helped us to compete with our neighbors, give out good value to the customer, and most importantly, control it. Because it's always about when you give out coupons, what happens? The customer can come again and again and again. But this one is the ability. You only take once, you can only use it once, and only you cannot use, unless you come in again the next day. Right? And what we have seen, customers coming back again and again if they like something. Of course, they can't come the same day, they have to wait for the next day. Even our Mydin membership, went to the roof, the registration, the renewals. because people wanted to see, I want to get instant gratification. I want coupons, I want to go get my value out there quickly. And this worked very well. Right now we are rolling this out in all of our stores, right? Should be done in the next 2-3 months. And this is a very good opportunity. What we do not have is good advertisers or good merchandisers to actually take advantage of this. Right? This is something else we recently deployed. When we were working on our latest format, Sam's Groceria, Datuk said that he wanted it to be a format that not only is premium, looks good, good value, but he wanted to make it technologically a little bit more sophisticated. Okay, so we did a couple of things. One of the things we did, from the normal traditional keyboard, we went with a full touchscreen based system. Okay, from our side. But we looked at the problem of the customer. It's okay, what is the biggest pain point of a customer? The biggest pain point of a customer is the queue when you want to check out. Would you all agree? Yeah, I see a lot of things going this way. Okay. So, self-scan is a technology very old. It's 10 years old actually in Europe. Right? A lot of our competitors out in Europe and US are already using it. So we brought it here, we implemented it in Sam's Groceria. Okay? And some amazing figures we found. So it's a device, you have a membership, you scan it. Membership is important so that at least I know who you are so you don't steal when you scan something else. Right? And you can walk around the store and you can start scanning and bagging your item. When you go to the checkout, just give the device, pay, and walk out. Right? You create a whole simple process of shopping and going out. Now, a couple of advantages here. Number one, because you're no more worried about queuing up, you spend more time in the store. Of course, you spend more time in the store, good one. Chances are you take more item. Right? Second, now you have a device in your hand. It is a way for me to communicate with you. Right? So we can actually issue out coupons. So let's say somebody wants to maybe scan some Maggi, soft chili Maggi, and I want to promote soft chili Lokman. Right? Pop, oh, please buy something else. You get two. I give you a cheaper price. So you can kind of influence the purchasing. But today you can do it already, right? So do take advantage of it. And I do want to hear ideas. Can we work on this medium more? And surprisingly, I thought only the young ones are going to be shopping using this. People are familiar with smartphones, people are familiar with Facebook. But our biggest customer who's using this is an 84-year-old guy. And he's very happy using it. Majority of our customers are actually the senior demographics. Why? Probably two reasons. Number one, the seniors, they are retirees. Right? So when they shop, there is a running total. So they buy closer to their budgeted figure. You know, when you shop, you always round up mentally. If you have a limited amount of money, not most of you, but those of us who have limited money. Right? So we always round up. This one, because there's a tally. Now, you can see what you're shopping, so it's a bit more comfortable. Right? This one. Second, I think the young ones are just too lazy. They rather get served than doing it themselves. Right? Now, the evolution of that, this is a device you have to put that people use. Because it costs money. The evolution of that is actually smartphones. This is not future, it's already today. This is available, we tested it out in Belgium, Carrefour with them, and it works very well. The cameras in your phones are so powerful, the processor is so powerful that when it used to take a couple of seconds, 3 seconds, about 5 years back, now it's just pump, pump, pump. It's great, it's as fast as a laser scanner. So this is the evolution of that, and this is coming. And of course, once you have this, you can think out what you can do. You can start pushing coupons, promotions, you can start influencing the customer when they are buying. Even if they are buying the competitor's product. You can say, don't buy competitor, buy mine. Yeah, I give you $1 off. Why not? If you all incorporate, give us more ideas, we try to implement, I get more budget. Okay. This is something that we are soon to announce, publish. It's an application. mobile application, you know, everybody has smartphones. Even the cleaner has smartphones. A lot of my staff have better phones than I do. I don't know why, I think pay them too much. Anyways, so mobile phone applications are there, and it's there to stay. Right? And we're going to be putting up more and more applications out there. This is probably a gap that we can work with advertising agencies such as yourself or partners. Say, how can we leverage this particular space? And we are seeing a lot of our members going for it. We have a few 100,000 members already. And for Mydin, yeah, great medium. Right? And not, of course, the other facilities like self-scan and everything, we're going to incorporate over here. Second is, we have online. We do have our web page, we do have our Facebook pages. And there's a lot of eyeballs per day. There's a lot of people going for it. Great place to advertise, great place to try to advertise and see. I'm hoping to get more money, so we can do better things over here. Oh, this is my older slide. The other one is on iBeacon. You saw the app just now, right? I think what my friend was saying earlier. iBeacon, we can actually use the applications here with the right tools. Get this whole application running with iBeacon. The good thing about this, as soon as you come into a store, I know who you are. I say, hi, Mr. Ali, how are you? You walk through an app, hey, you may want to look at this. They give you a special price. Right? A lot of this is already working in sync. The important thing is having the foundation. So what Mydin has been doing for the last, Mydin IT has been doing for the last 10 years is putting the foundation in place. We are almost there to create an experience that will rival the Europeans. Right? You can see some of our stores coming soon. Right? Thank you so much.
Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery.